Hello. Hi, everyone. What? What's the oh no about, Panzer? What is it? It's Tank Day? Not that kind of tank. It's like, RPG. The, like, tabletop RPG tank. It would be funny to draw... It would be funny to draw an actual tank. That would be funny. Just draw an actual tank. Get an automaton character, like have someone play an ancestry that's automaton, and then just have them be a tank. You can, the thing is, you could phrase it that way because you can choose to be a quadruped when you're an automaton. So you can be an automaton gunslinger with a rifle, and you could just literally role play a panzer tank. There you go. But a couple of things to mention before we get started today. First things first. While I am not tired, like in the sense of sleepiness, I am feeling a little bit on the uh lower energy side today, so I might not be as responsive. So that's something to consider. That's the other thing. You might hear me yawn a bunch. I'm not tired, like I'm not sleepy, and I definitely think I'm gonna get into a like heavy into a zone, but we'll have to see. Not enough Red Bull. Get the zoomies. We don't have any like soda or energy drinks at my place right now. We actually don't ever have energy drinks here. It's either coffee or soda. That's usually where we get our caffeine from. But anyway, I'm not sleepy. I'm just gonna be, I guess, calm. Maybe I'll get some more energy as I go. That we'll have to see about that. But for now, we're gonna proceed, and I'm probably going to end up being very quiet. That is a thing. The other thing I want to mention, I am going to try and see if I can't find solutions to a slight issue I have discovered with my multi-streaming. So Twitch lets you divide your audio up on OBS, so you can have certain sounds go to the VODs and certain sounds be live on stream. So you've got that kind of thing going on. That's not a thing for YouTube or Twitter, which I'm also, streaming on. So there is that. Currently I have YouTube and Twitter set to track 2, which doesn't record the music y'all hear over here on Twitch, the background music we do. So I'm a little concerned about that, because then that means that it means that the YouTube streams are going to be kind of, the YouTube and Twitter streams are just going to be me, my voice, and art, and that I feel like isn't going to be as enjoyable for the kind of content I do, which is more or less just, when it comes to art streams, I'm usually chill vibes. Um, Spotify easy, but here's the thing, Panzer. There's still copyright music on Spotify. That's the thing. I also don't have a Spotify account, and I don't want to get a Spotify account because I don't like Spotify. Art stream, yeah. I know that's like almost heretical in today's times where everyone has a Spotify, but I'm just out here like, no, I don't like Spotify. I don't like having ads in the middle of playing music, and I don't want to play, and I don't want to pay a subscription just so that I don't have to listen, just so I don't have to have ads flipping interrupt me. That's literally YouTube. Yeah, but like YouTube's been a crap place for a while as well. Like every place on the internet is basically crap anymore. But well, it's whatever. That's a whole can of worms we're not going to get into. But anyway, I'll figure something out. I've gotten the issue is not about music itself. There you go, Astral. Everywhere is doo-doo. Yeah, there's something wrong with everywhere. But anyway, so apologies in advance for everybody that's watching this on Twitter and YouTube, because y'all, it's mostly just silence over here. Not the best thing. I'll try to figure something out. I have an idea, since I have them all set to track 2. I could just get a media player on my PC and just play some non-copyright music through that, and that way it goes to that, but I can make it so that it's silent for everyone else. So I can make it that so that it's silent for the Twitch stream, that it's silent for me, but that it's heard for everyone else. So I can get it to be set up like that. It's just really weird to set up. That's really the only thing. Anyway, let's get to the Daily Doodle. And I'm going to try to not spend too much time on this, but I might get into a zone. So I have an idea for what I want to kind of do here. Let me make sure I've got all my correct stuff. Okay. You know, of all the people that have stuck around as much as I have seen, I am genuinely surprised Panzer has stuck around my streams. I figured he would have gotten bored by now. Like, I'm not that interesting of a person. I'm amazed that Panzer's still here. If anything, he's become more proactive as time has gone on, which is very strange to consider. Teehee. Brother, I have given you money. Your ass is stuck with me. Yeah, but you've already mentioned that you've done that with other VTubers before. What makes me so special? Why is it specifically me that you have chosen? I don't comprehend the reasoning. I'm not disappointed by this. I'm just surprised. And you can no longer do anything about the money I give you in the future. It's like there's so many other VTubers, ones that have boobas as well. Like there's so many booba tubers out there. And there's so many tank themed booba tubers out there. Like, what niche do I fill? What niche am I covering that makes you like, yes, this idiot? This is the VTuber I adopt. You're stuck with me. Space. Really? It was the space theme that drew you in? The fact that I'm fairly certain you've heard me make this joke, but I'm gonna make it again. It's like I've told so many before. My mind, it is in fact exactly like space, incredibly massive. But however, it is also mostly full of empty. I love that joke. It's such a weird thing because it's factually true. Like the concept that's like, yeah, space is incredibly massive, but it's mostly empty. Space has always been one of my favorite things. I feel like that's a lot of people's favorite. Like space is such a fun thing, you know? Like it's really fun. To put it in Markiplier terms, space is so cool. Let's see. What kind of pose do I want for her? I love how deadly it is. I listened to that song yesterday. Nice. Interesting coincidence. Ow. Like, hey, this ball thing can rip you completely to pieces and we have no idea what's inside. Enjoy the spaghettification. Ow.
Contrary wise owl cheered. X20.
No message or anything, just gonna throw those at me and just leave it as it is. Is that how we're gonna handle this? I don't think I've done just a regular stand-up pose for her, so it's gonna be weird to try and figure out how this is gonna look because it's like now I have to fully confront what her physique looks like. But I also have to still keep it kind of cartoonish. I'll definitely be wobbling around with this one for a bit. But all right, I guess space theme is the thing that Panzer is like, yeah, this is why I'm sticking around. Well, in that case, Panzer, maybe Model 2.0 will have no space themes. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I like it too much to get rid of it. Brother, I'm going to still be here. Hmm. Not sure I'm going to be very happy with this pose. The hand is going to be something else I need to figure out. Needs to be closer. Let's see. About here, I think makes more sense. I think that works, but the arm just looks too small. So let's just make some adjustments. Don't care, didn't ask, cry about it. You're stuck with me. All right. You'll get bored one day and find a better VTuber to follow. You'll say one day you'll go, yeah, I had fun with this guy. He was funny, but then I found this other one who was way funnier. Tunist, afternoon. How goes it today? It goes well. Hello. I am surprisingly struggling with such a simple, straightforward pose. Yeah, that doesn't look good at all. I had this idea in mind, but I don't think I'm executing it right. Mm, maybe so used to side angle poses as opposed to forward facing ones. Let me see. I'm gonna try something different. Normally I don't do this for daily doodles, but I'm gonna try something different. But how goes it with you, Tunist? Hopefully well. Wasn't expecting that. Finishing out the workday. Got a couple hours left. Oh, that's nice. Well, I hope I'm not distracting you too much from your work. If you're on Twitter, if you're on Twitch, then you're hearing the music, but if you're anywhere else, you're not hearing it very well. And by very well, I mean you're not hearing anything at all. Mainly just listening in, so you're not a distraction. Okay, cool. Sorry I'm not going to be the most chatty today. The more people that talk, the more chatty I tend to be, but then I get really focused on what I'm doing and, well, then I get just really distracted. Living that work lurk life. Hey, we like lurkers here. We like lurkers here. Okay. All right, BRB. Thanks for the lurk, Panzer. I'm gonna just try not to think too much about this first rough phase. 'Cause I think that's a problem when I think too much about it. Okay, I think I'm starting to get a good rhythm. Let's see, how would that look on the wrist. It's an angle I'm not used to. It's a good thing that this is going to be the toughest part. The other parts of this that I plan to draw are going to be much easier by just general comparison. All right, let's do some just quick little. I think her head's a little small. Just a little bit. Yeah, I think that looks a little better. I think this fist needs some adjustments. All right, now comes the easier part. Well, before I get to that, let me get. That should do for that part. Now let's get the layout. By the way, this is the rough up. I'm very finicky with the rough up because, well, to put it simply, the the rough up stage is where I'm very focused on pose, proportions, and expression through shape. So most of it is just me laying down base work for when I get to the refine stage. I do love how Gresha looks appropriately aggressive. All right, let's get that axe head. It's been bugging me. I need to draw that axe head. By the way, for whoever cares, I actually have made character sheets for all of the for this group in Foundry. I recently purchased Foundry and I've been using their character sheets as like player sheets so that I could test things out, and I've grown to like them a lot. It's definitely helped me figure out a few things with the system, as well as helped me figure out what kind of rules I want to play under, because I play under the Pathfinder second edition system because I really like that system. I like how it functions. I like the way everything works with that system. I like it quite a bit. D&D 5e is fine. Like, it's not bad. I just don't prefer it because it's too simplistic. It's it's very very simple. It's very simple, it's very basic, but that's not a bad thing. Like, when I say it's basic, I don't mean that in like a negative way. I mean that more like a it's easy to understand. It's very easy to pick up kind of way. So it's like if someone's new to tabletop, it's a good system to start learning under, but it feels like uh like the first system you're going to pick up. Like, it's like, yeah, this is definitely a system, but it's not the system for me kind of deal. Pathfinder second edition, it's the system I am very familiar with. It's the system I like quite a bit because everything it feels very DM friendly, because when you there's a lot of rules to understand, but once you grasp those rules, it makes so many things that are normally uh, a hassle in D&D to deal with. Like, an example of one thing is like how in D&D, um, a lot of mechanics are very intentionally written to be vague. And the reason for that is so that the DM can kind of just make things up as they need to go. And that's fine. Like, that's not a bad thing. But it can be also very unhelpful to a DM who's more experienced, because then you're just like, you're looking for something more concrete to follow on. Pathfinder second edition is that. It's more concrete in what things are and how they function and the like. Like, there's mechanics for busting through walls and forcing open doors versus lock picking. Hiding and perception mechanics are very fine tuned in the system. They're not utilized a lot because most people who move from Pathfinder Second Edition to D&D, from the other way around, from D&D 5e to Pathfinder Second Edition, because D&D doesn't really do stealth mechanics all that much. They have them, but they don't really get utilized a lot in most of their games and the like. But anyway, the systems at play, there's a lot like encoded, like there's a lot just written down for like falling, like there's falling damage stuff for like D&D, but Pathfinder does it very different. And one of the things I really like about Pathfinder is how strength doesn't feel like a underutilized uh status anymore. Like in D&D, strength feels so underwhelming compared to dexterity, because in most cases dex is better. Like in most cases dex builds are always going to be better than uh or most cases are going to be better than strength builds, because, well, of a couple of little factors, but the main thing is just that it's very not optimal. If you're not mid maxing, that's, that's a whole thing of itself. But like, with oh yeah, another thing about Pathfinder Second Edition that I like is the way level scales and CR between creatures operates, because your dice rolls are directly affected by like your level, in terms of your capability of hitting a thing is dramatic by comparison. Like a CR, like a level 1 fighter, or a level 1 rogue, it's impossible. Not There isn't like a 5% chance on it. It's impossible for a level 5 for a level 1 rogue to even hit, let alone critically hit, a level 10 monster or a CR10 monster. Like it's actually mechanically impossible. And the reason I like that is because it makes the impact, the scale of the thing that you're like up against feel more intense, more fearful, because you get stronger. You will like actively get stronger than things that you start out fighting. Like if you start out fighting a bunch of goblins and then you get all the way up to like level 6, and you go back and you fight the same type of creature, you'll find out that not only are you strong, the thing that you once struggled with is now is not just a struggle, it's a pushover. And I love that feeling of progression. Like there's a feeling of progression that you can get with that system that you can't quite get with D&D 5e. Well, you could get it, but it requires more effort to do so, whereas the mechanical system of uh, Pathfinder Second Edition actively just has that baked into its thing. It's really nice. I enjoy it. All right, Grisha, let's get your details in. First things first. Tank, an essential part of some RPG teams. Yep, that's the idea. All right. What proportion of your time doing art is physical versus digital media? I basically only do digital media these days. I haven't done a lot of traditional artwork in a while, mostly because if I do traditional artwork, it is more so for myself in rather than anything else, and it's also easier to do digital for a lot of the things that I do, which is mostly graphic design stuff. Well, I say mostly graphic design for characters and whatnot. It's easier for me to sort and move through things quite a bit. It's not that I don't know how to do like traditional artwork. It's more just that digital is more convenient for the purposes of things that I like to do, which, for a content creator, you kind of need that accessibility. It makes it a lot easier. Not that you couldn't, do digital, do traditional and whatnot, and it not be, something you could do. There's plenty of people that do traditional work and still manage to get some crazy good stuff. But then that requires a good camera. That's kind of the big thing you need with traditional art if you're going to post it or whatnot. You need a good camera for that so that the image gets good quality. Makes sense to me. You use the medium that works for the content you are delivering. Yeah, that's effectively it. Yeah. I do still have like sketchbooks and stuff. Like I still keep them, and occasionally I'll do a doodle or whatnot in there, but ultimately it's more for myself more than it is for anything else, because I don't really get the excess of posting it. Whenever I do digital art, I picture what a professional had in college said: if your art is crap, being digital won't save it. Then your digital art is just uh chrome crap. Yeah, the yeah, that's pretty accurate. Like, it doesn't matter if you do digital or traditional. If you don't practice, if you don't study, it's not going to get better. I think it's good to start learning traditional first because it's less forgiving in some aspects, which I think makes the move from traditional to digital easier. I do think that, like, working traditional art is always going to be additive to digital, but it's not necessarily true in a vice versa stance. Like, it can still, like, help you understand with studies and whatnot and all that stuff, but um if you become too reliant on tools that are supposed to help make things easier, like the undo tool, for example, that's a notorious one. A lot of people feel like they can't do art because if they make a mistake, they can't just undo it. And I think that's important. I think if you're going to learn art, you need to learn to be more, I guess, committed to the lines and whatnot you make. That's why you see me, the way I handle it is like I'm not thinking about it, I'm just doing it. Overthinking is the main culprit behind a lot of people struggling with art. They overthink it too much. All right. It's already been an hour, huh? So much for trying to not take too long on this. Give me a second. It's getting a little stuffy in this room. I'm gonna turn my fan up. 1 second. Hopefully, y'all won't hear that whirling in the back. Oh, excuse me. I think this here maybe is a little too much. Let's try. Yeah, that feels a little better. Gresha definitely refers to herself in third person. There is no doubt in my mind that Gresha definitely refers to herself in third person. If I was to pick a voice for Gresha, it would be Rekka from Hi-Fi Rush. Like that's what Gresha sounds like. She sounds like Rekka from Hi-Fi Rush. And I'm not kidding, it is a complete coincidence that their names are that similar. Because I was not thinking of Rekka at all when I was making Gresha. But I only just now, as I said it, realized, oh my goodness, their names sound so similar. They're also, both of them are also big buff ladies. And them they're just like, whoops. Rekka out here just like, I am ready to mess up anyone that hurts my friends. I love her. Man, I am such a. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I'm such a sucker for the big meathead archetype, and I'm a super sucker for when the muscly meathead archetype is like a big orc lady. I love that archetype so much. Gresha out here just like it's like Gresha can still take. Gresha can do this all day. I went Scottish. I don't think Gresha is Scottish. It's just it's the one accent that I've got the most practice with, and it's probably not even a very good accent. I might. I think I might end up going for a while tonight. I'm in a really good rhythm, but it will depend. I don't want to say it. I don't want to jump the gun on it and say, oh, yeah, definitely. I don't want to jump the gun. Hi, Rip. How you doing? I think that's about it. Hmm. Oh, hi, Blossom. So you finally going to go take your shower? Ow. I scared myself silly because giant spider boss. That funny. That making me laugh. Thanks for the stretch out. Thanks for the hydrate. Now I gotta hurt the spider boss. Give myself an asthma attack. Oof. That's a mood, Blossom. All right, let's see what we got. Excellent. All right, so there's one last thing I need to do. Let's see if I can't make this work. All right, let's see. Let's see. I think that kind of works. Just need to touch up on some spots here and there. Mm, okay. So I'm working on breathing. Oof. All right, let's try that again. But this time, let's actually be smart about it. I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to give it a try. All right, let's see if this works. I missed a spot. Let me grab this little spot right here.
Hey, listen!
What's up? I'm surprised you're not including a Panzer Easter egg. I don't think I can. Also, I'm getting to that stage where I'm really focused and not paying attention to chat, which is not a good thing. Mm. All right, let's see how the almost forgot. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, that's it. All right. Let's see how this looks. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Cool. Now I just got to put on some general injuries and whatnot, and then she'll be solid. And then it's the rest of the piece will be pretty simple. Gresha Gresha don't mess around. In the philosophy of mess around and find out, Gresha is the one where she's like, all right, you messed around, time to find out. All right, now let's add the last little bits, which is going to be the three in the back and a little comical thing that I wanted to do from the start. Am I on a different layer? Yes, I am. Okay, good. This girl is on fire. She is also badly injured, poisoned, and probably a few other status effects that I'll come up with along the way. I'll give her the silent status effect. Nah, that one doesn't really affect HP. Gresha just eats a fireball and is just like, I'm still standing. I feel weird when games have bleed status effects since most damage would result in bleeding normally. It's more just a context of gaming factors, simply just like the idea of being injured in a video game, like the idea of an HP bar in itself is, already something that's not really realistic. But in a video game, it's just how it works. Hi, hi, Gain. Yo, how go the drawing? It go all right. Let's see, what's another condition I can throw onto her that'd be funny? It was Mimic Man. How hope your day at work was tolerable. It was. Oh no, I just realized what time is it? Hey Geen, I have a question for you. And depending on your answer, it might determine something. Confused works, paralyzed doesn't. Thanks for the tip on the confused. But do you think you will be available for later again? I'm good just counting down the hours till I can sleep. Mm. I think I should be. Okay. Then I guess I'm not getting any commission work done today. Well, let me consider my options. I'll be free tomorrow too, though. Hmm. And tomorrow would probably work better. Then never mind. You can't forget the yawn status effect. I'm not putting meme status effects on here. It's meant to aid. If it doesn't aid the joke, I'm not going to add it. If it doesn't aid it, it subtracts. A funny suggestion, though. All the same, a funny suggestion. Gresha just out here like, was that supposed to kill me? His favorite musical artist. Wait a minute. What am I? Did I miss something? Hang on. I think I should be. I'll be free tomorrow though, and tomorrow will probably be better. You can't forget the yawn status. His favorite musical artist is Katy Perry. I. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't do pop songs very well. It's like I was wondering what you were going on with because it was like it was just like, what are you talking about? Because that's I don't know how gross. You know what? I'm thinking too hard about this. I'm just gonna not think about it and move on. Can't stand Katy Perry. Even I know that. I can't stand it, Katy Perry, and even I know that. Brother, I feel like you just kind of you're on a roll with sentences that don't make sense today, Gain. Because it's just like you just said, I can't stand Katy Perry, and even I know that. Of course you know that. You just stated that you can't stand her. Why would you phrase it that way? Why wouldn't you just say I can't stand her? And then that's it. That's the sentence. That makes sense. But then you tack on that, and even I know that. It's like, well, obviously you would know that because you just stated it. I ain't that it ain't that confusing. It really is. It's it really is. Y'all make an entertaining clash of personalities. And yet, for some reason, we still haven't done any major collabs. We gotta find something we can collab at some point, Geen. We've done minor collabs before, but we've never done like a major collab, like what I've done with Blossom, where we go through a game. We've talked about doing one. We did. I just need a date. Yeah, I know. I was just saying that we talked about doing one, and I think I could maybe do start next week, but again, when we start talking tomorrow, we'll discuss more on that. All right. These next bits shouldn't take as long. Oh, poor Holly is just working overtime. I'd watch that collab for sure. Roger Willico. I don't know what that is, but I'm gonna just assume that that's just your way of saying okay. Poor Holly. It's just like you are all going to put me in an early grave. It's just like, Crystal, please stop. I only have so many heal spells. She's just so panicked. All right, let's see. All right, now it's time to put the two other idiots in the back. This ended up taking much longer than I thought it would. I got too hyper fixated on the pose. On the plus side, Panzer appears to have departed. Huh. Are you truly friends with someone if you can't gamble with them? I love these idiots. All right. Only a couple more things to go and we're good. Okay. Okay. Oh, I added the wrong font. Whoops. Let me put the right font in. Oh, hi, Tunis. Thanks for the follow. I don't know why I said hi, but thank you all the same for the follow. Hope you have hope you've been having a good time. Just I'm gonna just give this a little nudge. All right, now Almost finished. Just barely hanging in there. Tanking as the barbarian. All right. Last thing to do, and then the piece will be all done. This took about 2.5 hours. I've been putting way too much. I keep this should not have taken as long as it has. I just got a little bit, get a little off on the first part of it. All that's left is this little outline for everybody. I really am just, I love these characters. I didn't even like have them for like, I haven't even had them for like a really long time. I just came up with them one day for, I just came up with them one day for for the daily doodles, and now I love them. They were just a spur of the moment idea, and now they're just sticking around. I love it when that happens, when you get characters that you don't expect and they just kind of show up. Grisha's outline is almost done. And now there's Holly. There we go. Did make a slight mistake though, but I think I've got a way around it. Hmm. Let me try doing something. There we go. I love these idiots. So, what's the rundown of today's comic page? So, for today's Daily Doodle, the theme was tank. Gresha is a barbarian, so her way of tanking is just having an absurd HP pool and slight damage mitigation. But overall, her objective in the party is to get hit and then hit back harder. That's her whole shtick. So I thought, why not just throw a barbarian in a scenario to just the epitome of what this should be as a barbarian, which is tank. So she's got every status. She got 5 status effects. Her HP's at its lowest point. Her HP is like super low, and she is just pushing through it. Just like, I can do this all day. The funny part about it is Gresha's HP pool being as low as it is looks dangerous, but for the tank, the remaining HP she has is about half of the HP of the healer. So you just got Holly in the back, just like, Gresha! Just, Gresha, are you okay? She just panicked. She's just absolutely panicked. It does appear that there's some lag on Discord. Hang on. Yeah, it's lagging pretty bad. But let's go post this, and then we'll move on to a different piece. Okay, so just gonna go and post that. Need to upload it. First place I'll be posting it is on the Discord for everybody who's on the Discord. If you were to have some people run your comic characters, who would they be? Run? Like, as in a game? Like, are you talking like in a tabletop game? Are you talking like voiceovers for a comic? Also, they're not in a comic. They're just, well, I guess they're kind of like comics. I don't know. They're more like one frame. They're more like single images with some slight context. Single panel comics, I guess. Single panel comic sketches. Let me type this in. All right, so tags in. Now, daily doodles for Twitter. All right. Ads. Yes, turned into real characters to play. Well, when you get back from ads, let me know, even though you can't hear me say that. Let's see. All right, got it posted. Let's see. I'm going to try to get this finished up. I was working on this yesterday, and then the battery on my thing went out, and I was mad. Okay. I think that should do. I'm going to get a drink. I haven't taken a sip of anything in a bit. Okay. So, let's see. Yeah, there's some spots on the hair I haven't quite gotten yet. You back from ads yet? Rip. Yep, okay. Who would I want to play them? Well, that's a toughie because obviously I would want people that would want to play them. That's one thing. I would want to have people that would want to play pre-made characters, but that's pretty rare. Generally speaking, it's rare for players to want to play pre-made characters. At least I think it is. I don't hear a lot of stories of people playing pre-made characters. Most people I know want to play their own characters they've made. But if I could get people to play them, at least in my friend group, I know two. I do know of two that I would want. First would be Geen. I would have Geen probably play as. Let's see. Well, maybe not Geen. Geen would be very good as a player, but I don't know if I could see him play the part of Luke or Stab. I could see Goodish playing the part of Stab. I feel like Goodish could get into playing Stab. I don't know if Blossom would play Holly. I don't know if she's like if she's okay playing healer. As for Gresha, I don't have any friend that I think I could see. I like healer. Then I guess I would have you play as like if I had the option to pick that, I would have you play as Gresha. I think you'd be able to get into her personality very easy. She's a nervous wreck of a character. If Shindo would be all right with it, I'd have him play Luke because specifically because it would upset Blossom and no other reason. Well, no, there is one other reason. Holly and Irihi play D&D. I don't know. For one, I wouldn't be D&D, it'd be Pathfinder. I would be playing in the Pathfinder system, not D&D, because I prefer it. Would love for Shindo to play as Luke if Blossom was playing as Holly. Just because Shindo, as I have learned, likes to just play human fighter. And Blossom's like on it because she's like, no, be something cool and special. And it's just like, no. Okay, never touched Pathfinder. I'm used to playing with my uncle. We played second edition. D&D second edition? Wasn't there only like 4 classes in second edition D&D? I know in first edition there was only 4 classes and they were like the most bare bones like thing ever. Yes, D&D second edition. It's also called Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. It's the edition that introduces paladins, barbarians, rangers, acrobat, and ca- cavaliers. Neat. All right. I think I'm at that stage where unfortunately I'm going to be zoning out a bunch. So that means I probably won't be paying much attention to chat, but I'll try to keep up with it as much as I can. My cousin plays a class that was only discussed in D&D magazine called Runecaster. He uses magic pins to write spells in the air on an object. Neat. That neat. Um. Okay. Hey, Draco. Sorry, I'm really focused. But yeah, you caught me in a moment where I'm really focused on this. I'm getting like super into a flow right now, which is probably making me get really fast with some of what I'm doing. I love when I can get into these flows. It's not good for streams or anything because I don't talk, but when I'm in a flow, I feel so focused. Okay, I'm gonna just check something really quick. Hmm. Okay. Sorry, was just checking something. Okay. Okay. How does that look? Nice. That looks nice. Okay. Who's your favorite One Piece villain? Favorite villain. Man, I'm gonna get such flack for this. It's an L. People are gonna be like, how in the hell is he your favorite villain? Enel is honestly so fantastic. I feel like he gets a lot of flack because he's part of an arc that a lot of people don't care for, but I think Enel is Enel is such a perfect reflection of like Luffy as a villain in some capacity. As a villain, not as an antagonist. Uh I do not consider so while Enel is my favorite villain, he is not my favorite antagonist. My favorite antagonist is someone you haven't met yet, Blossom, so I can't say who it is. But I'm glad you asked who my favorite villain was, because I don't consider my favorite antagonist a villain. I consider him an antagonist. But Enel is such an excellent reflection of Luffy, who is this metaphorical representation of action and freedom, whereas Enel is about complacence and control. Like everything about Enel's character is all about being complacent with what he is and in control of everything. He is an oppressor, and he's a perfect counter to Luffy. And one of the things that's excellent is Enel, the reflection of their powers is so fascinating because like Enel, it's like, yeah, the rubber and lightning thing, but the main thing that makes it interesting is the fact that Enel sees himself as unstoppable, godlike with his power, and Luffy seems like goofy, ridiculous, and just full of mistakes. But he has the perfect counter. This flawed, very human character is capable of not just standing up to Enel, but actually defeating him. And it's unbelievable. And the expression Enel gives when he finds that out, when he realizes that he's not invincible, it's so crazy fun. I like Doflamingo. He's quite hateable and terrifying as a villain. I think Doflamingo is a very fun villain. I just like Enel a lot more. Dofi, he's he's a fun villain. I just think there was a little too much going on for him in some aspect. In a weird way, he had too much going on, and that kind of made him less interesting to me. Not by the fact that having more means, that he isn't got depth, but it's more like Enel is so simple to understand. He's easy to approach, and again, in that simplicity, it allows for him to feel like he's a good reflection of Luffy. Doflamingo doesn't feel like a good reflection of Luffy as much as he seems like an obstacle for Luffy. He does have good reflecting points, don't get me wrong, but in the measure of him being a opponent to Luffy and him being an obstacle to Luffy, he feels more like an obstacle than an opponent. And I get that doesn't make a lot of sense, but if I had a video essay to explain on this, I probably would go over what I would see as an obstacle versus an opponent in storytelling. But anyway, I think I'm going to wrap up stream tonight. I got a ton of the shading on this one laid down. I'm so happy that I got into a zone and managed to get a bunch of the shading laid down, especially on the hair. I was really feeling the hair. I was really in the flow with the hair on today. Yay, art. We got 3 hours and 17 minutes in. I'd like to go a little longer, but for me to go from this to something like this, I would need a transition period. Where is it? Yeah, this. I would need a transition period to go from shading, to get my mind from shading to sketching. Because I always have I have a different mindset whenever I'm shading versus sketching. Shading and line art are very brain off for me, but sketching is like I've got to think, I've got to focus and come up with stuff. Sketching is honestly for me a little harder than the shading or the line art. Even though the line art and shading, for the most part, takes longer, as you can see with where is it? As you can see with this, this right here took me almost like this took me like 2.5 hours, and it is just a sketch. I could do the line art for this, and the line art would probably take close to 3, maybe 4 hours, give or take. It's hard to say. It could take maybe 2 hours depending on certain things, but the shading would definitely take me like 3, maybe 5 hours if I was being leisure with it. But my point being is that shading and line art, I don't think too hard with it. I just kind of go with the flow, and I have a good idea of like where the shapes are already, because they were placed down in the sketch. But the sketch is something I actively have to think about. I have to actually think about like where things are positioned, how they're moved about. Like on just the hands of this piece alone, I was like spending a good while just trying to figure out, okay, how would this be? But let's see if we can go find someone to raid. Let's see who is available. Elias is available, so is the ulterior build crew. Let's see. It seems like they're Elias is playing a survival game with Rin and someone else. I think Rin is his girlfriend. I'm not sure. I've never asked. I It would be only an assumption, but I think Rin is his girlfriend or wife. I don't know. Actually, again, I don't know. I think I've seen art of the two of them together, but that could just be a fan shipping. It's hard to say. Anyway, we'll go raid Elias because I haven't raided him in a while. I'll catch all y'all later. Bye bye.